Begins in 1920s Germany, a time of economic recovery and cultural transformation. In 1920, Hans Riegel, a confectioner, founded Haribo in the city of Bonn. The name Haribo is a combination of his name and the city of origin. Initially operating from his small kitchen with little more than a copper pot, a rolling pin, and a stove, Riegel's vision was to produce affordable, high-quality sweets for a broader audience. Haribo's early offerings included licorice, hard candy, and fruit gums. Hans Riegel's commitment to quality and creativity set the foundation for what would become one of the world's most beloved confectionery brands. Riegel would end up hiring his first employee, his wife Gertrude, in 1921. That's just a year after starting the business, for those of you keeping track. Gertrude handled deliveries for the early days of the Haribo company, and often did so via bicycle. While Gertrude was out delivering orders, Riegel would use this time to experiment with different candies, eventually stumbling on a new sweet treat, the Gummy Bear. Riegel debuted his gummy prototype, dubbed the Dancing Bear, in 1922. Larger and slimmer than modern gummy bears, the bear's shape was reportedly inspired by the real dancing bears that once entertained children at festivals across Europe in medieval times, but have since been outlawed. The idea was not to make sweets without a certain shape. Instead, Riegel wanted to give his candy a face and a personality so it would resonate more with the customer. In 1925, Haribo expanded their product offerings again, initiating the production of black licorice treats comprising of sticks, wheels, and most notably, a black bear. By the 1930s, the company experienced substantial growth, boasting a workforce of 400 employees. During this period, they introduced a teddy bear gummy variety and unveiled a new slogan. Translated to English, it reads, "Haribo makes children happy." Though Riegel was the first to create gummies shaped like bears, the history of these gelatin-based sweets actually predates his invention. According to Beth Kimmerly, the author of 4 books on the American confectionery industry, gummy bears descended from precursors such as gumdrop, Turkish delight, and candies known as wine gum, which is a non-alcoholic treat originating in the United Kingdom. She's on the record saying, "My feeling is that gummy's true predecessor is jelly or jam, as a way to preserve fruit cooked with pectin, and sometimes starches. Later on, Japanese rice candies made the appeal of jellies portable, and gummies became a way to have a bite of fruit jelly on the go. But earlier candies had already set the formula later fine-tuned by Riegel. His innovation was, in part, the shape of the bear." But Riegel was far from the only candy entrepreneur active in the early 1920s. American Fred Amend came up with a candy called Chuckles, while Henry Hade created jujubes and jujufruits. But Riegel made his mark through strong business acumen, applying new advancements in flavoring and coloring methods, because he understood candy is all about appearance, texture, and customer perception. As you can see, the founder of Haribo, Hans Riegel Sr., along with his wife Gertrude Riegel, played pivotal roles in the company's early developments. However, the peak of Haribo's success in the 1930s was abruptly halted by no fault of their own, but by the start of World War II. Hans Riegel Sr.'s sons, Paul and Hans Riegel Jr., fought on the German side, only to be captured and held in American prisoner of war camps. Tragically, Hans Riegel Sr. himself passed away towards the end of the war in 1945 at the age of 52, leaving his wife Gertrude and his 2 sons to take charge of Haribo company operations. In the aftermath of the war, the Riegel brothers faced the daunting task of almost closing down production. But with determination, they began rebuilding the company from the ground up. By the following year, Gertrude's sons assumed leadership roles, with Paul overseeing production and Hans Jr. managing marketing and sales. The post-war era marked a transformative phase for the Haribo company. Orchestrated by the Riegel brothers, they steered their father's company into a candy superpower, broadening the product line and increasing the workforce from a mere 30 employees after the war to around 1,000 by 1950. Haribo's expansion continued through the 1950s and 60s, during which the company embraced emerging marketing tools, including that of television. In fact, Haribo was among the first brands in Germany to venture into television advertising, a move that significantly heightened the brand's popularity and catapulted its products into mainstream consciousness. Haribo's gummy bears have undergone multiple makeovers over the decades, most prominently in 1960 when the company rebranded its dancing bears as Gold Bears. Today, these small chewy gummies come in a gold bag packed with 5 flavors, at least in the United States. The flavors are that of raspberry, lemon, strawberry, pineapple, and orange. They're available in more than 100 countries, with 160 gold bears leaving the factory floors around the world every day. As the demand for Haribo products, especially the gummy bears, grew, the company expanded its operations beyond Germany. Haribo set its sights on international markets, establishing production facilities and distribution networks in various countries. The 1970s marked the beginning of Haribo's global dominance in the gummy candy market. Despite its popularity in Europe, Haribo only arrived in the US in 1982, when the company's first American office opened amid stiff competition. The Jelly Belly company manufactured the first gummy bears in America 1 year prior, in 1981. Jelly Belly was already a household name because of jelly beans, which are starch-molded, pectin-based fruit candies, but they really wanted to emulate the success that fruit-flavored gummy bears were getting across the Atlantic. In that same year, Trolli, another German company, released the first gummy worms. As you can see, the confectionery industry is a highly competitive one, and Haribo faced stiff competition from both traditional candy makers and new, innovative players. To stay ahead, the company embraced innovation on both flavors and marketing. Haribo would introduce new flavors, shapes, and variations of gummy candies, keeping consumers excited and engaged. Limited edition and seasonal gummy bears became a strategy to create buzz and maintain the brand's relevance. With an inventory of more than 1,000 products, Haribo's offerings go far beyond its flagship Gold Bears. Among other candies, the company's lineup includes soda-flavored Happy Cola gummies, sour Gold Bears, alphabet letters, and a star mix featuring Haribo's best sellers. Some Haribo candies are unique to certain countries as well. Turkey boasts denture-shaped teeth gummies, and the UK has milkshakes in strawberry, banana, and vanilla cream flavors. In France and Germany, blue-hued gummies pay homage to the cartoon Smurfs. And these are just a few examples of different flavors around the world. As of present day, even with the 1,000 plus product variations worldwide, the gummy bear remains the flagship product, with Haribo producing billions of gummy bears each year. But it hasn't all been sunshine and rainbows for the Haribo company. In their over 100 years since the founding, Haribo has attracted its fair share of criticism. At the turn of the millennia, the company declined the invitation to join Remembrance, Responsibility, and the Future, which is a foundation established to compensate individuals, including civilians, prisoners of war, and concentration camp inmates, who were forced to work for German companies during World War II. In a 2000 statement to a German newspaper, Haribo refuted the claims that they have relied on forced labor under the Nazi regime, adding, quote, "There is no doubt about the suffering that existed, but that cannot be righted now," end quote. After further investigation, it was found that the Haribo company more than likely did not participate in forced labor during the war, but declining to join this foundation undoubtedly tainted their public image a bit. More recently, in 2017, a German documentary alleged that Brazilian plantation workers tasked with producing carnauba wax, the ingredient that gave Haribo gummies their shine and prevented the candies from sticking together, were being treated as slave labor. Once again, Haribo launched an official investigation into these accusations, and the investigation found no evidence of modern slavery being practiced by the company's wax supplier. Still, the company decided to switch suppliers anyway and eventually discontinued its use of carnauba wax entirely, replacing the ingredient with beeswax. Haribo has also become a founding member of the Initiative for Responsible Carnauba. But much like the first criticism they received, their public image took a hit again, and they saw a slight reduction in sales because of these accusations. But today, Haribo has embraced sustainability, committing to responsible sourcing of ingredients and environmentally friendly packaging. Haribo's ability to adapt to the times while staying true to its core values has ensured its continued success in a dynamic and ever-changing market. One of Haribo's strongest characteristics is the continued expansion and ownership by the Regal family, now in its third generation of candy makers. The history of Haribo and the Gummy Bear is a tale of sweetness and success. From a small kitchen in Bonn, Germany, to international acclaim, Haribo's journey reflects the power of a simple idea executed with passion and dedication. The Gummy Bear, with its iconic bear shape and delicious flavor, has become more than just a candy. It's a cultural phenomenon that has delighted generations and will delight more to come. That's all I've got for you on the history of Haribo and the Gummy Bear. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to give a like. Let me know what you want to see in future videos, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.